Hello, everybody. Welcome to the channel if you are new, and welcome back if you are already a subscriber. Today's video is going to be a little bit different than my normal monthly setup video. I decided to put on a movie in the background and just plan straight through, and it took me about 45 minutes. I was actually really surprised. I would say that the actual process took 45 minutes. I kind of bumbled around with my coffee this morning for a little while, picking out my washi tapes and themes that I kind of wanted to pick up on for the month, which we'll get to in a little bit. But for starters, I pulled out my budget planner, and you can see that page on the left is already done. It's the page that has kind of the breakdown. It'll have my balance for whatever account I'm talking about, the carrier, the minimum payment that's due, and the amount that I actually paid. I had kind of forgotten that I actually set that up at the end of April, so it was already done for me, but it's a pretty simple page to do, and I really just use my tiny Westcott ruler, which I'll try to link below. And I know I say that a lot, that, I'll link something below and then it's not. So I'm really sorry about that. I can't always get to the descriptions. Life is hard and adulting is hard and things are really chaotic at the moment. And I really appreciate the patience. But of course, if you guys cannot find it, let me know, or just pop a comment in and I will post a link as quickly as I can to you. But I do have a small Westcott ruler that I use to create a lot of those columns. And then that first page on the right that you saw me do was just my May paychecks page. So I just put the dates that I get paid. And then underneath those dates, I put everything that's due. And then the following pages that you're seeing me set up right now, I do one for every 8 days. So May the 1st through the 8th, then the 9th through the 16th, the 17th through the 24th, and then the 25th through the 31st. So what I am going to do is to keep my spending under $150 in those weeks. So I log the date, the amount, and the description. And what that helps me do is it helps me determine where my money is going, but two, why I might be overspending. So the things that I typically log in that category, and I've really been struggling with this because we actually had a new Nordstrom's rack open up right across the street, and I have a Nordstrom's account. So even though I feel a responsibility to log that, I also have a lot of things like Nordstrom notes or gift cards, or I might use my Nordstrom card. So it gets a little sticky, tricky with all of these rewards and things like that. And I think that's where I struggle the most, because I struggle with log everything in the full amount. And then I struggle with, log kind of money in, money out, or money out that's not on a card, if that makes sense. But a lot of times I'll put like groceries on a rewards card or something like that. So I'm really still struggling, but the root of it all is to log mainly takeout, gas, groceries. Those are the main things that I'm logging these days. So like, for example, I do actually buy a lot of like household items and groceries and mixed things at Target. Well, sometimes they go on the Target card, sometimes they don't. It just kind of depends on what it is. So with things like that, I've really just been kind of struggling how to categorize the actual spending that's happening. And I've been doing really well. I think that's been more forced upon me than something I'm actually really super proud of, unfortunately. But I'm definitely having to cut back a little bit more this year and just be a little bit more mindful of how my spending is going, just because there's some things in the back half of the year that I really would like to experience and that I'm prioritizing. And then I've got some other trips coming up. At the very end of my budget planner weekly pages, I put in a page for notes, and at the end of each of those weeks, I tally everything up and I put whether I'm under or over and what contributed to that, whether it's good or bad. And then if necessary, I create an action item. So for example, if I overspent on takeaway, I might say, okay, no takeaway for an entire week. I can actually really proudly say that I have cut down on my takeaway extremely, and I'm really, really proud of that. I think I've really been enjoying cooking lately and making sure that I make enough to stretch several meals. And another hack that I have been doing is kind of planning 2 full days. So 2 different breakfasts, 2 different lunch, and 2 different dinners, and flip-flopping them. So I'm not eating the same thing back to back. And then I kind of create as I'm running out of one or the other, I create a new meal to fill that gap. So that's really been working well for me. Maybe I will do a plan for June, and we can talk about that style when we get there. But now jumping into my Hobonichi Han planning. So the first thing you saw me set up was my tracker. So I'm changing it up this month a little bit with what I'm tracking. And that's for a couple different reasons. I know we've talked about in a couple of videos that the 5 a.m. tracker really it was just a tracker. It really wasn't something that I could keep up with. But I'm not going to say that I couldn't keep it. Just really didn't make a lot of sense to have it in there. I like to be up at 5 a.m. and sometimes I'm up at like 3:30 or 4. And sometimes I sleep in until 6 or 7 or 8, like on a weekend day. So it really I know I'm a more efficient morning person. I know that when I get up, I need to make the most of my mornings. Having a 5 a.m. log or a goal to be up at 5 isn't super helpful. So I'm just kicking that out for now. So I kept reading in my 5-year. I reordered them a little bit. So I've got reading 10 pages and my 5-year. What I would really like to do in the morning instead of watching a show to get kind of woken up, I think I'm going to try to start reading my pages. I've been doing weights in the gym a little bit more lately, so I don't necessarily want to commit myself to have to read on the elliptical because I've been trying to go back to running a little bit. So I want to make sure I get my reading done first and foremost. Then I want to try to do the 5-year journal entry from the day before so that I can be a little bit more updated and not have so much back planning. The next tasks are the 12K steps and the 64 ounces of water. Those have been around for a while. Instead of tracking a calorie deficit or evenness, I'm just going to focus on logging my meals because that's something that I'm not always consistent with, but I feel like the deficit will come if I'm logging and more situationally aware throughout the day. In May, I'm going to try 2 different challenges, which are Mile a Day and Mermay. As far as Mile a Day, it is what it sounds like, a mile a day. Now, you can choose to have that mile any way you want it. You can choose to walk, you can choose to run, to jog, to bike, to use the elliptical, stationary bike, whatever your poison is. And actually, I wouldn't mind swimming a little bit as the weather's getting a little bit warmer. That could be a really cool thing to try to do. But I'm really just going to challenge myself to get in a mile of exercise. So not counting like my normal steps that I walk in because I walk well over a mile every day, but actually a workout style mile is what I mean. And then as far as Mermay, that's a project that I did ages ago and I've done in the past. And it is, again, as it sounds, it's drawing a mermaid every day. I don't know how consistent I'm going to be with that. I really just want to challenge myself to draw a little bit more or doodle or just kind of be creative. And I feel like I'm getting better and better with my daily pages, but it might be nice to just have some creative time. As I said, life is a little bit crazy right now, and I really just don't want to overload myself on expectations. And May, so sorry about that. May is going to be really crazy, I'm sure. So I think having like a small creative project like Mermay might be really good for my brain. And then as far as I also added a 10-minute project. Those of you that have been hanging around for a while will know all about that. So I goal to try to spend 10 minutes on a project every day. That might be the custom for 10 minutes. It might be cleaning out my closet for 10 minutes. It might be doing a cleaning project like the cabinets or something like that. It might be organizing something. So usually it's kind of centered around like a bigger thing, a bigger project that I really want to see some progress on, but I don't have hours and hours on end to devote to it. And this way I'm kind of chinking at it a little bit. So I really want to get back to that. I've still got French on there. I am giving myself until June to start this French business, or I'm going to have to kick it to next year because I literally have done nothing on it this year and it was a goal that I had. I'm also keeping my saving column mainly as just a tracker to keep updated, but staying to the savings challenge that I started at the beginning of the year, which is basically you save a penny a day. So for example, on day 50 of the year, you would save 50 cents. On day 100 of the year, 100 pennies or $1, obviously. So I've been trying. I'm a little bit behind on the challenge, mainly because I just haven't had a lot of cash on me. But anytime I am coherent enough to think about it, and I did try to get some cash this week, but I didn't realize that when you do the tap pay, you don't get asked if you want cash back. So fun fact there. Now I'm going to chat a little bit about the page that I'm working on now. So the first thing that I want to call out is that I used 195 as my green to make my little YouTube logos. I didn't know that my head made an appearance in that video. That's fun. And I used N89 as the gray for the bars for my cleaning list that is on the left-hand side. And I literally just go through every category of cleaning from bathroom to bedroom. I did make an oops and have to white out and do the Tombow over again. I put bedding for some reason. I don't know what my brain was doing. But it's bathroom, bedroom, living room, kitchen. And then I have a craft section, a car section, and an other section so that I remember to keep maintenance on those things or maybe larger projects like I said. So obviously, some spring cleaning projects are showing up on there too. I am quote unquote using the May 2024 base kit from Coffee Monster Co. I literally just took the pretty colorful emoji box. That's it. I am crap at using kits. I'm fully aware of this. But I love having those nice little jumping off points. So usually whatever color scheme the kit is what I'm going to go off of. And I absolutely love the floral theme this year. I think these are supposed to be snowdrops, which is funny to me because they bloom to symbolize in bulk. And so I really almost wanted to flip them, but I'm pretty sure that's what they are. But she basically used the birth flower for every month, which I thought was really cute. Now you're going to see me super struggle. So obviously, this week is going to be, I believe, the last couple days of April and head on into May. And I'm trying to find the dates in front of me so I don't completely jack it up. Okay, so it's going to be April 29th through the 5th of May. So I knew I wanted to do a Star Wars theme because you've got May the 4th that day. And I don't know why I didn't use Star Wars for a theme the following week, because the next week starts with May the 6th, which is Revenge of the 6th. Some people do Revenge of the 5th. I don't. I like to have that day in the middle between the two, and also tacos and Cinco. Big priority there in my life. So oh my God, I'm so sorry. My whole head and very mangy ponytail is in this video, and I was vastly unaware until now. But I have a very, very, very limited amount of this Star Wars washi tape, and I am trying very, very, very hard not to hoard it. So last year I did 1 week with it. This year I used it. Unless she does a re-release, I probably won't do it next year. I am fingers crossed that she does do a re-release of it. I know this year Helen is doing a lot of not revamping, but re-releasing older designs because she's been around now for 8 years, so a lot of us are new. I've only been hanging out with the Coffee Monster Co. crew for, I think, 2 years now. So, yeah, I think I'm literally at my 2-year mark. So it would be really cool for me to see other washi's come back. So what I ended up doing so that my Hobonichi weeks, which is what you see on screen right now, matched, was I used my Every Minute a Story Star Wars washi. I have a few from them, and I thought this was the most comparable with the characters element instead of the background. I have one that's more background matchy, but I really liked the character, so I wanted to do that, and then I just popped the date above the washi. For this second week, I used this really pretty Root and Branch Paper Co. washi that I picked up on my birthday when Jeff and I were in Decatur. We went to like downtown Decatur Square, and we found this super cute little artsy shop, and I saw this and of course had to grab it. It was just a super pretty washi, and I haven't had the chance to use it on something yet, so I thought this would be a really great opportunity to use that. So for May the 6th through the 12th, that is the choice that I made. And again, I am flipping open my Hobonichi weeks to pop it in there as well. Something I thought that was really interesting was I haven't been doing really well on using my tracker in my Hobonichi weeks as of late. And again, knowing that things are going to be pretty chaotic for a little while and a little bit in flux, I again don't want to put a lot of constraints on myself with the habit trackers. So what I want to do is leave the pages really open for just notes. Because I also found that in April, I was trying some different longer format workouts, but I was having to log them in my daily pages because they weren't fitting in the extremely small sections that I had in the Hobonichi weeks. So I decided to switch things up a bit this coming up month. You guys, I struggled with washi so much during the setup. I don't know what my issue was with. I don't know if it's because like now we're getting farther into the month and almost to that mid-year mark, not mid-month, the mid-year mark, that things are just kind of like wobbly on one side. I don't know. It was really weird. But the week of May the 13th through the 19th, I decided to use the Fathoms Below washi from James Burke Creative, another one of my favorite small business shops and shop owners. And he is actually doing Mermaid this year, and he's already, gone live and said all that. And I think it would be really fun that if I have the opportunity to watch some of his videos, and I know he's doing like daily videos, I think it might be really good for him to kind of be my Jiminy Cricket guide through May and those creative endeavors, because he was such a huge person. He was such a huge part of who I got back into drawing and craft and that arena with. So I think it'd be really good if I'm kind of taking the time to watch his video every day and try to doodle. I think that'll be really nice. And finally, I make a nice little oops. So I get this little princess, I think it was the Princess 2.0 washi, all put down, and I realize, oh my God, I'm on the wrong week. So I put it off to the side and then decide to use this absolutely gorgeous washi from Allie Brown. I know she's done a re-release of it, and I wish she would do it again. I'm really bad about tracking her site, and she doesn't always she gets really small batches of washi done when she does them, but this is literally one of my favorites, and I just wish I had another roll because I'll be really sad when it's gone, but I'll know it's in so many journals. It's just such a beautiful spring floral abstract watercolor, just gorgeous washi. And I usually try to use it in the springtime for sure. I think I've used it for birthday weeks as well in the past, all that good jazz. So I popped that into both the Hobonichi weeks and the Hobonichi Han for the week of, you can tell I'm struggling to find it, the 20th through the 26th. So we got that in. And then the very last week of May the 27th, and then it goes into June the 2nd, I decided to finally do the rainbow week I've been talking about. So one of my favorite things that I've ever seen Helen do was these rainbow weeks. And I think that was my first rabbit hole that I ever really, really went down. And I was determined. And so I searched the trove of Etsy to find all of the, like, at least one washi in every color. And I ordered like little sample swatches. And I was so excited, I think, after the first pre-sale year. So that would have been 2022 was my first pre-sale experience. And I finally had washis in like every color, I think. And I was so overjoyed to finally do a whole rainbow week that wasn't like just out of swatches that I had. So it's been a while since I've done one, and they make me super happy because I usually try to use like colored inks and things like that. And then last year I actually did an entire month of June because June is Pride Month. And I really just wanted to make sure that I like highlighted that. So I was, for some reason, I was like, is it June or is it July? And I'm like, no, it's definitely June. So I went ahead and started off the first couple days of June with my rainbow week, and I thought that it turned out really well. I used the Princess 2.0. I believe it's Cafe. Then the affirmations, which I picked the super cute little emoji that says, I am growing, but it says I am loved on the other side. And I think that that'll just be kind of like a nice little midweek, take a breath, check-in. And then I got to use the Tea Time washi. Then I used the new Winnie and Friends. I believe this is the original. It's Winnie and Friends, but I can't remember if it's like 2.0 or the original. I think it's the original because I don't really love the blue. I really like the yellow. So it's fine, but I use that as my blue. I use the Self-Care 2.0 as my purple, and then the Coffee Time 2.0 as my kind of end of the week. And sometimes I've done gray, I've done black. I thought brown was kind of a little bit, it lended itself more to the color palette happening. And I was a little bit more picky about the scenes that I chose this time around too, which I thought was interesting. That in some cases I like clipped off of each side just to make sure that the scene worked out in the little bar. So I really like how this one turned out. I think it'll be fun to use different colors that week. And it already gets me excited to start doing rainbow spreads for a few weeks. Because who doesn't love a rainbow? But yeah, I'm a big fan of being able to use the little rainbow style swatches. So that about covers it as far as what my spreads look like for this month. I'm going to do a nice little slow flip for you guys. I am so sorry about the late upload. I have had, not this late upload, but Wednesday's video came out on Thursday, and I'm so sorry about that, mainly because I had a serious issue with my export. It was a tech issue. I usually use Splice, and I was having so many issues with it, and I literally tried all day long to get that video exported, and it just wouldn't do it. It kept saying that there wasn't enough space, and literally over half of my phone was available. So it took me like offloading basically my entire phone and then finally getting it out. So I'm really sorry about that, but thank you for your patience. And be sure to let me know in the comments if you like this style a little bit better, like where you see me doing it in real time and then voicing over, or if you just like the traditional flip through where I just kind of chat through the choices. But until the next time I see you guys, I hope you guys enjoy creating your own little wonderlands. And as usual, feel free to drop any questions or comments down below. I'm happy to get back to you as quickly as possible. And I'm much better at answering comments than I am getting my descriptions done. But until the next time, enjoy creating your own wonderlands. And here's to a new month almost. And I hope your April has been awesome. Bye, guys.